Jimbo gone stale. Tallahassee now has that good feeling again with Willie Taggart in town. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down Florida State with the Seminoles coming off that bad season. We are breaking down all the Power 5 teams and all the major independents, not just predictions, not just going through a list and saying they're going to win these games and lose these games and they're going to go 8-4, but breaking down the personnel so you're prepared to watch college football here in just about 10 days. All right, Florida State 7-6, 3-5 last year. We understand Jimbo Fisher, by most accounts, especially from the fans' take, mailed it in last year once they got to a certain point. Okay, DeAndre Francois, of course, was the issue in getting hurt in Game 1 against Alabama. Then it all came unraveled. Can DeAndre Francois, after a very nice freshman campaign, 20 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, led a team to an Orange Bowl win and a top 10 finish, can he lose his job based on injury? Well, James Blackman came in and played very well. You've got to take the circumstances into account. His season in 2017 wasn't as good as Francois' 2016, but he didn't have the advantage of preparing as the starter the entire season. Francois goes down, bam, Blackman, you're the starter. You're rail thin, and you're going to play against an ACC schedule. He didn't have the red shirt behind him. He also didn't have the team in play that Francois had the season before, and that team was not motivated to go grab a big bowl bid like the 2016 team was. So it's difficult to compare. James Blackman definitely showed me a lot, just like Francois did the year before, behind a makeshift offensive line in terms of Francois getting up off the deck as a freshman time and time again to lead his team back and play well. Blackman did the same thing last year, and he got better as the season went. 58% completion percentage, 19 touchdowns, 11 picks. So we still don't know who's going to win the job. Okay, the offensive line needs to get better, and it could be better. This has been the sore spot for this team, even when they were near the end of their dominance in the division as Clemson was taking over. This was the number one sore spot, offensive line. Center Alec Eberle is a tremendous player and leader and a key to this offense. Read the article by our guy, James Coleman from Gridiron Now on him. They've got 4 starters back and blue-chip prospects behind them. Okay, why has the wide receiver position for the past 3 years or so been, I shouldn't call it bad, it's not been bad, but not Florida State good, not to its standards? Why? Well, the recruiting says that these players should be good, they should be performing. The development has not been there. You got Nooney Murray. He's the most dependable guy. He's made the most plays in the big games. Look back to the Orange Bowl that we referenced, the 33-32 win over Michigan. He made a ton of big plays in that game and was the Orange Bowl hero. He caught 40 passes last year for 4 touchdowns. Pretty pedestrian, but again, he worked with Francois, expected that, and he got James Blackman, who was struggling behind a line that wasn't the best. George Campbell was a huge recruit. He caught 6 passes last year. He keeps getting hurt. Keith Gavin, 27 receptions last year. He was a big recruit. Now there's a wave of young guys that might be pushing the guys we just mentioned. People love DJ Matthews and his talent. The 8th-rated wide receiver, according to 247 Sports in 2017. Terry, also a big prospect. Look out for them. Let's go to running back, Cam Akers. He ran for 1,000 yards. He ran for 7 touchdowns. And that was with all the offensive turmoil. The run blocking being decent, not great. And then the pressure of loading up the box against the run because Francois was out of the lineup and Blackman was learning on the job. So Cam Akers could be set for a breakout year if he doesn't give up too many carries to the other backs in the backfield. You got Jaquez Patrick, the veteran. He ran for 748 and 7 touchdowns. The junior, Amir Rasul. And a couple guys that, one guy in particular, Kalen Laybourne, the number 1 all-purpose back in the nation, have people talking. Obviously, Florida State fans want to see him on the field. People are talking about his ability and being able to step right in and play well. 8 new starters on defense. Some of the top tacklers are gone from a defense that was good. It was a Florida State defense. They had athletes all over the place, and they played pretty well. Yeah, they kind of caved in at times. And again, once the losses mounted They didn't play as well. They didn't play with that fire or passion at times. I'm not going to question their effort level. DeMarcus Christmas comes back. He holds down the tackle spot. You've got Brian Burns, who's just a tremendous talent as a junior at DN, 13.5 tackles for loss and 4.5 sacks. Florida State does not have the linebacking core that you would expect. They have some issues there. The DBs are loaded with both veteran talent and new guys that are going to press them with freakish athletic ability. So on the first tier, you've got Kyle Myers and you've got A.J. Westbrook, who had 40 tackles last season. And then what about these prospects? Jaden Woodby, the great player from California, who chose Ohio State originally, then went to Florida State, and he seems ready to play. And Asante Samuel Jr., yes, that Asante Samuel, also a prospect in the system. All right. This Florida State program was traditionally under Jimbo tremendous on special teams. Not so much last year. But we don't know Willie Taggart and what he's been able to accomplish on special teams. I wanted to mention the Willie Taggart track record has been tremendous. Okay, Western Kentucky, he takes them from 2-10 his first year to 7-5, 8-5 within 3 years. He did the same thing at South Florida. They were 2-10. Boom, they're going 11-2. He goes to Oregon for the 1 year. We really can't judge that. They did improve by 3 games from 4 wins to 7, but he's got a record of turning programs around and getting them to a certain point. Of course, he's got to get Florida State off the deck from 7 wins. If he's winning 7 games in 3 years, he's gone. And with this schedule in 2018, this Florida State team could be one of the 20 best teams in the nation and lose 5 games. This is the most difficult schedule in America. And if you don't believe that, you need to look at the Mark Rogers TV college football schedule rankings. We've got them number 1. Florida State with the toughest schedule in the nation. Northern Illinois. Don't discount that. That's a game in Tallahassee that's going to be difficult. But Notre Dame on the road and Florida as well. 2 really difficult Power 5 games. They play in the tougher half of the ACC, what I would call the 3rd best division in college football, with Clemson, NC State, Wake, BC. They've got to deal with those teams, and Louisville as well. Then they've got the toughest draw in the Coastal with Miami, who they have to play every year, and Virginia Tech, opening night, Monday night, Labor Day night, at home in Tallahassee. So what it adds up to is they most likely lose to Clemson. They do have the Tigers at home. If they pull off that upset, then game on in the ACC Atlantic. Wouldn't that be interesting? I forget when the game's played, probably mid to late October. And let's say Florida State's lost a game in conference at that point, but they knock off Clemson, and suddenly you've got a tie with Florida State having the tiebreaker lead. If they're able to pull off the upset against Clemson, then it gets really interesting. Otherwise, it's a Clemson division. We know it is. And most of us conjecture that Florida State's not quite there because of offensive line, linebacker. Those are the 2 places they can't match Clemson. And especially at offensive line, you need to match Clemson there. All right, back to the schedule. It's the most difficult in college football. Again, that means Florida State is going to be a very good team. They are going to be one of the 15 or 20 best teams in the nation. But it's going to translate based on the schedule to 8-4, 5-3 in the conference. That's my take on Florida State. I am going to be fascinated to see your records on Florida State football because I think they might be all over the place. Not horrible all over the place, but 7-11 wins because this is a really talented team. Willie Taggart seems to be the right fit for the program, although that may not take hold in year 1, but the schedule may hold them back just a bit. Join the newsletter. Join the mailing list for the newsletter that goes out week 1. Send your email to MarkRogersTV@gmail.com, and I will put you on the mailing list with stats and trends and channel updates and my perspective on the weekend. Every weekend in college football, we just send out 1 mailing. Don't bother you the rest of the week, just the 1 mailing per week. Get on the newsletter. Send your email to MarkRogersTV@gmail.com. And also, like, comment, subscribe. Get your family and friends that love college football or even like or can stand or tolerate college football to subscribe to our channel right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football.